The Exile. Captain Alina Reyes stood at the viewport of the UES Defiant, watching as the last diplomatic shuttle departed from the massive Hegemony station. The diamond-shaped vessel gleamed against the backdrop of stars, carrying Earth's final plea for reconsideration. She already knew the answer. The Hegemony Council had made their decision, and 17 races united in fear would not be swayed by human promises or reasoning. Captain, her XO, Commander Jackson Wei, approached with a tablet in hand. The shuttle reports the Council's final verdict. Elena nodded, her expression unchanging though her stomach tightened. Let me guess. They doubled down. Complete quarantine of the Sol system, Jackson confirmed, his voice tight. All existing trade contracts nullified. Any human vessel attempting to cross the boundary will be destroyed without warning. They're establishing a permanent blockade with automated defense platforms. Elena turned from the viewport, her dark eyes scanning the bridge crew. Every face showed the same mix of disbelief and anger. Humanity had only achieved faster-than-light travel 30 years ago. In that time, they'd established colonies on just 2 exoplanetary systems. They'd followed every regulation, paid every tariff, respected every cultural boundary the Hegemony had established. Did they at least provide a justification this time? She asked. Jackson's mouth twisted. The same vague statement. Humanity represents an unprecedented existential risk to galactic stability due to their aberrant development pattern and psychological profile. The nerve, Lieutenant Kea Martinez muttered from the tactical station. We've never once violated their precious regulations. It's not what we've done, Elena said. It's what they think we might do. The bridge fell silent as the implications sank in. The Hegemony controlled the known galaxy, all FTL routes, all resource-rich systems, all advanced technology. Being cut off meant humanity would be confined to 3 systems with limited resources. The colonies would struggle to survive without trade. Elena tapped her comm. This is Captain Reyes. All hands, prepare for return to Earth. We're going home. As the Defiant changed course, Elena retired to her ready room and opened a secure channel to Earth Defense Command. Admiral Chen's weathered face appeared on the screen. I take it from your expression the news isn't good, he said. Total quarantine. Admiral, they're not budging. Chen nodded slowly. We expected this. The Advisory Council is already in emergency session. Return to Earth immediately, Captain. You and your senior staff are needed. Sir, Elena hesitated. What are our options? The colonies can't survive long-term without. We have plans, Captain. Plans the Hegemony knows nothing about. Chen's expression hardened. They think they're containing a threat. They're about to discover they've unleashed one. 3 days later, Elena stood in the cavernous Situation Room beneath the United Earth Government Complex in Geneva. Representatives from every nation and colony sat around a massive circular table. Holographic displays showed the Sol system, the 2 colony systems, Proxima Centauri and Tau Ceti, and the extensive Hegemony blockade being established around them. Admiral Chen stood at the center, addressing the gathered leadership. The quarantine is nearly complete. Within 2 weeks, no conventional ship will be able to enter or leave our systems without detection and destruction. Then we're prisoners, said the Tau Ceti governor, his holographic projection flickering with static. That was their intention, agreed Dr. Sophia Kim, the lead scientist of Earth's Defense Research Division. She stepped forward, her slight frame belying the force of her personality. But the Hegemony has made a critical error in their assessment of humanity. She gestured, and the holographic display changed to show complex equations and technical schematics. For the past decade, we've been developing technology the Hegemony doesn't possess, couldn't even conceive of, given their reliance on established science. Elena leaned forward, studying the designs. What am I looking at, Doctor? We call it the quantum fold drive, Dr. Kim answered, her eyes gleaming with pride. The Hegemony's FTL technology creates controlled wormholes between specific points in space. They're jump gates. Our research team discovered we could instead fold space itself, bypassing traditional spatial boundaries entirely. In plain terms, Admiral Chen translated, we've developed a propulsion system that doesn't need their gates, doesn't use their routes, and most importantly, can't be detected by their sensors. A murmur spread through the room as the implications became clear. Is it operational? Elena asked. We have 3 prototype vessels, Dr. Kim confirmed. But we need more, many more. The UEG president, Adebayo, stood up. Ladies and gentlemen, what you're hearing is classified at the highest level. The Hegemony believes they've contained us. They expect us to plead for readmission, to accept whatever terms they dictate, or to wither and die in isolation. His voice hardened. Instead, we will implement Operation Phoenix. We will build a fleet equipped with quantum fold technology. We will establish colonies beyond hegemony space, and we will forge our own path among the stars, without their permission, without their knowledge, and without their constraints. Elena felt a surge of determination. They'll never see us coming. Exactly, Captain. President Adebayo nodded. And you'll be leading the first expedition. The next 6 months passed in a blur of preparation. Earth's industrial capacity was redirected to constructing the Phoenix fleet. The first wave would consist of 5 colony ships and 3 military escorts, all equipped with quantum fold drives. Elena's Defiant was retrofitted with the new technology, becoming the flagship of the expedition. On the day of departure, Elena stood on the bridge, reviewing the final checklist. Each colony ship carried 5,000 settlers, along with everything needed to establish a permanent presence: prefabricated structures, sustainable agriculture systems, manufacturing facilities, and defense capabilities. All ships report ready, Captain, Jackson announced. Elena nodded, feeling the weight of history on her shoulders. Navigator, input coordinates for the Arcturus system. Arcturus, Captain. That's 40 light-years away, beyond any hegemony patrol route. Precisely. Elena smiled. Initiate quantum fold. The stars outside the viewport seemed to stretch and twist as space itself compressed. There was no sensation of movement, just a momentary disorientation. And then, they were there. Where the journey would have taken months using hegemony technology, they had arrived in seconds. All ships present and accounted for, Jackson reported, his voice tinged with awe. Elena gazed at the view screen, where a golden star burned bright, with several planets orbiting it. Scans showed the third planet was a terrestrial world with Earth-like conditions. Send the signal to Earth, Elena ordered. Phoenix has risen. Part 2. The Rising. 5 years passed in a blur of expansion and discovery. Humanity spread like wildfire through the stars beyond hegemony space, establishing 27 colonies across 18 star systems. The quantum fold drive had proven more revolutionary than anyone anticipated, allowing ships to travel vast distances without detection. Admiral Elena Rice, promoted after the success of the first expedition, stood on the observation deck of Arcturus Station, the de facto capital of what Earth now called the Free Systems. Below her, the first colony had grown into a thriving metropolis of 2 million people. Amazing what we can accomplish when no one's holding us back, remarked Dr. Kim, joining her at the viewport. Elena nodded. The hegemony did us a favor, though they'd never admit it. They still have no idea, Dr. Kim smiled. Our intelligence network confirms they believe we're slowly dying in isolation. Their blockade remains focused entirely on Sol and our original colonies. The door slid open, and Commander Wei, now captain of his own vessel, entered with an urgent expression. Admiral, the exploration vessel Pathfinder has returned from the Perseus sector. Captain Alvarez requests an immediate meeting. Elena frowned. Did he say why? Only that it's urgent and involves a discovery that changes everything. An hour later, Elena sat at the head of the conference table as Captain Miguel Alvarez activated a holographic display. It showed ruins, massive structures on an alien world. "We found this on the fourth planet of HD 76,700, Alvarez explained. An entire civilization, advanced beyond even hegemony standards, but abandoned possibly for thousands of years. Any indication of what happened to them?" Elena asked, studying the images. "No signs of war or disaster," Alvarez said. "It's as if they simply left. But that's not the important part." He changed the display. "We found their technological database intact, and what it contains is extraordinary." Dr. Kim leaned forward, her eyes widening as she scanned the information. "This is incredible. Their understanding of quantum mechanics and spatial manipulation makes our fold drive look primitive." "There's more," Alvarez continued. "This wasn't the only civilization to vanish. According to their records, there were dozens of advanced species in this region of space, all gone within the same approximate time period, about 8,000 years ago. When the hegemony formed, Elena realized with sudden clarity. "Exactly," Alvarez nodded. "And we found references to something called the Purge." The implications hung heavy in the air. Had the hegemony systematically eliminated advanced civilizations that wouldn't join their collective? Was humanity's quarantine a modern, more humane version of their standard procedure? Before they could discuss further, an alarm sounded. Captain Wee checked his communicator. "Admiral, we're receiving a distress signal from the outer system. A ship of unknown configuration has appeared. It's damaged and broadcasting on multiple frequencies." "First contact," Elena breathed. "Scramble the response team. I'll lead personally." The unknown vessel was unlike anything they'd seen before. Organic curves blended with crystalline structures, damaged but still beautiful. It had limped into orbit around Arcturus' outermost moon, where Elena's team made contact. The beings called themselves the Valari. Tall, slender humanoids with iridescent skin and 4 eyes arranged in a diamond pattern. Their translator struggled with human language, but their story became clear enough. "Hegemony exile us," their leader, Talon, explained. 500 cycles ago. Say we think wrong. Too individual. Dangerous. They exiled us too, Elena told them. But we found a way to travel beyond their reach. Talon's eyes widened. Not possible. Hegemony control all gates. Elena smiled. We don't use gates. As they shared information, a disturbing pattern emerged. The Valari weren't the only exiles. There were others, species deemed too aggressive, too innovative, too individualistic, or simply too different for the hegemony's comfort. All had been quarantined in isolated systems, prevented from advancing or expanding. The hegemony fears change, Talon explained. Maintain stability above all. Any species that evolves quickly or unpredictably, threat to order. Well, Elena said, I think it's time the exiles united. The Free Systems Alliance formed within a year. Humanity, the Valari, and 5 other exiled species, each bringing unique perspectives and technologies. With access to the ancient ruins and combined scientific knowledge, they developed weapons and defenses beyond anything the hegemony possessed. But as the alliance grew, secrecy became harder to maintain. 8 years after the quarantine, a hegemony patrol detected unusual energy signatures from a human mining operation in an uninhabited system just beyond their blockade. They investigated and discovered humans where none should be. The Hegemony Council convened an emergency session. How had humans escaped? Where had they obtained such advanced technology? Surveillance ships were dispatched to assess the threat, but each disappeared without a trace when they crossed into what was now Alliance space. Finally, the hegemony assembled a fleet, the largest in their history, and sent it to confront the human expansion. 500 ships arrived at the edge of Alliance territory, broadcasting ultimatums and threats. Delina, now Fleet Admiral of the Alliance, faced the hegemony armada with 70 ships of mixed origin, human, Valari, and other ally designs. The hegemony commander's face appeared on her view screen, mandibles clicking in agitation. "You have violated quarantine and stolen hegemony technology," the alien accused. "Surrender immediately or be destroyed." Elena smiled coldly. "We didn't violate anything. We simply went where you weren't. And we didn't steal your technology. We developed better technology on our own. Technology the hegemony could have benefited from if you hadn't been so afraid of different ways of thinking." "You will submit or be eliminated," the commander insisted. "This is your final warning." "No," Elena replied calmly. "This is yours. The Free Systems Alliance extends from here to the Perseus Arm. We have rediscovered the civilizations you purged and learned from their legacy. We have united the species you exiled and built something better than your stagnant hegemony." She leaned forward. "You came here expecting to find a primitive human outpost. Instead, you've encountered a united front of 8 species with technology that surpasses yours in every way. Return to your council. Tell them the age of the hegemony's unchallenged dominance is over." "You leave us no choice," the commander declared. "We will eliminate this threat to galactic stability." The hegemony fleet advanced, weapons charging. Elena gave a simple command: "Activate the void shield." A shimmering barrier of folded space enveloped the Alliance fleet. The hegemony's first salvo simply disappeared into quantum fluctuations. Then the Alliance ships engaged their quantum fold drives, not to escape, but to execute a battle maneuver impossible with conventional FTL. They appeared behind and among the hegemony vessels, precision strikes disabling rather than destroying. Within 20 minutes, the mighty hegemony fleet was neutralized, with minimal casualties on either side. "Open a channel to all hegemony vessels," Elena ordered, "and make sure this transmits to their council as well." When the connection was established, she spoke not just as humanity's representative, but as the voice of the Alliance. "Your fleet is disabled, but your people are unharmed. We could have destroyed you, but that's not our way. The Free Systems Alliance doesn't seek conquest or retribution. We seek cooperation and progress." She stood tall, her voice carrying the weight of all the exiled species. "The galaxy is changing. The hegemony can change with it, or it can fade into irrelevance. We invite you to join us in building something greater, a true galactic community where diversity of thought is valued, not feared." 3 months later, Elena stood in the great chamber of the newly formed Galactic Concord on the neutral world of Terminus. Representatives from the Alliance, reformist hegemony worlds, and even some long-hidden species filled the hall. The old hegemony had fractured, with many worlds choosing to join the new order. President Adebayo, now an elder statesman, addressed the assembly. "They tried to erase us, to contain us behind walls of fear and prejudice. Instead, we built an empire beyond their dreams. Not an empire of conquest, but of cooperation. Not of uniformity, but of beautiful, chaotic, innovative diversity." He gestured to the assembled delegates. "Today marks a new chapter in galactic history. The stars belong not to those who fear change, but to those who embrace it." As the applause filled the chamber, Elena thought of the long journey from exile to this moment. The hegemony had intended to prevent humanity from changing the galaxy. Instead, they had created the very conditions that made such change inevitable. They had tried to erase humanity. Instead, humanity had rewritten the stars.